Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Well, it feels a little bit crazy this morning. I just wanted to update you on something that's happened in the case that we've been covering of Anna Kepner, who's up there in the right-hand corner, but I'm going to put a bigger picture up of her. Oh, so this beautiful teenager went on a cruise with 9 members of her family. 9. I still cannot get over with Anna that she was on a cruise over there in Florida. You know what cruise ships are like, how many people are on them. And she was with her family, her blended family, her dad, her stepmom, brothers, grandma, granddad, other siblings that she has. And she was not safe. She was not safe. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Anyway, Anna was sharing a stateroom on the cruise ship with 2 of her brothers, a stepbrother and a biological brother. And something happened in that stateroom, and her 16-year-old stepbrother is charged with Anna's rape and murder on that cruise ship. And he is 16-year-old Timothy Hudson. And there he is. You know, I've got choice words I could say about him, but I'm not going to. Anyway, I think he's pled not guilty. He says he doesn't remember anything. Doesn't remember. You know, he doesn't remember raping and murdering his stepsister, Anna, allegedly. So, I just wanted to give you, there has been an update. And the problem is with Timothy, because he's only 16, and so he's a juvenile, technically. But this murder allegedly took place as the ship was in water. You know, it was actually cruising. So it means that the FBI have dealt with this case. And the problem with the FBI is, or federal authorities, is they don't have facilities. You know, that it's not, if it was the local law enforcement's jurisdiction that were dealing with it, he could be held in a juvenile facility. But because it's the FBI that are dealing with it, it's a federal charge. He is being charged as an adult. So this all happened over in Florida in the USA. Let me tell you something about Anna if you haven't, followed this case before. She was beautiful, as you can see. She was a typical teenage girl. She wanted to join the military. Her ambition was to then, after being in the military, train to be a K9 officer, come back to where she came from and be a K9 officer. You know, she was a beautiful girl, very vibrant. You know, she had everything to live for. And this twonk allegedly took it all away from her. Now, people are saying, and again, we'll find all this out at the trial, of course, that Timothy was obsessed with Anna. People are also saying, why were they allowed to share a stateroom? You know, her and 2 boys, a teenage girl like that. Then the stepmother says, oh no, they were all close. They were like the 3 amigos. She wanted to be in that stateroom with those other 2 boys. There's talk about Timothy was supposed to be on medications. They didn't take that night because the stepmother fell asleep and didn't make sure he took his medications. You know, these are all things that I suppose will come out in the trial, and we'll find out the exact sort of timeline of events. But the reason I'm talking about it today is yesterday Timothy appeared in court and was released again on bail. So Timothy is staying. So this is this is what he's accused of: raping and choking Anna to death, his own, stepsister. I mean, on a cruise ship, like what, you know. Anyway, how could he even think they could ever get away with it? And then what he did was he stuffed her body underneath the bed, covered it over with boxes of life jackets and all sorts of things to make sure it couldn't be seen. And then the other brother, when he came home, or came back to the cabin. First of all, he could not access the room. Timothy would not let him in. He was probably hiding Anna's body at the time. Wouldn't let him in. He kept him outside for a couple of minutes. Then he did let him in, and the other brother went to sleep unknowingly on his bed, unknowing that Anna's body was there underneath the bed, just within a feet of him. Anyway, the next morning, Anna was found by staff cleaning the room, of all things. Found her body under the bed. And of course, as you can imagine, all hell broke loose. And then eventually Timothy was arrested. But he's on bail. He's staying with an aunt and uncle. How could you imagine having him staying in your house? So apparently he's on some sort of monitor, or he's not allowed to leave the house. I say he's not allowed to leave the house. I mean, he was doing some casual work. He was circulating around that neighbourhood. Apparently the uncle's supposed to keep an eye on him at all times. Well, I don't know. I just can't believe he's walking free with the sort of severity of the charges. But yeah, there's this big hoo-ha, if you like. Where would he be held? Because he's being charged federally. He's only 16, and there are no federal incarceration, apparently. So he's free. Came out the courtroom. I mean, obviously he's got his case to follow. He's not probably going to be free forever. But it's a bit just can't believe, when you're charged with rape and murder, even if you are 16, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? And to be honest, I think if I was him, I'd probably prefer to be in prison. I don't know. I don't know whether he's been hounded. Anyway, he says they were like he, Anna, and the other saying no. Timothy had an unhealthy obsession with Anna, and he saw on FaceTime one day Timothy jump on top of Anna in the bed. So we've got sort of conflicting reports as to whether they got on or they didn't get on. Anyway, the fact is, it doesn't matter about what the conflicting reports are. The fact is that this girl is dead. She is dead. That is an unrefutable fact. Anna is dead. No more nice photos of Anna. No more cruises for Anna. No more life for Anna. And in the meantime, Timothy Hudson is walking around free. So I just wanted to tell that, because I know you'll be... Anyway, to be fair to the judge, because you just think sometimes, don't you, what are these judges even thinking about when they let people out like this? The judge has released him on the condition whatever his bail conditions are. But also, the judges said that he's going to review the options of, where he could be held. This is the problem. Where is he going to be held? So the judge is going to apparently talk to marshals and find out what the options are. So he may not be free for long. I certainly hope not. The thing is, let's have a look at this. So let me read this article out to you. This is the Miami Herald. Boy accused of killing his stepsister on a ship is free, but the judge is going to talk to marshals. So a federal judge in Miami on Wednesday allowed a teen boy charged with sexually assaulting and killing his 18-year-old stepsister on a cruise ship to remain free for now, as the judge considers whether to hold him in a juvenile facility. So US Magistrate Judge Edwin Torres initially ruled in February that Timothy Hudson, 16, who was initially arrested and charged as a juvenile, could live with an uncle in the Tampa area under electronic monitoring. But after a federal grand jury indicted Hudson on charges of murder and aggravated sex abuse in March, prosecutors sought to place him in custody. So the prosecutors are trying to get him in custody. Anna's dad has spoke out and said he thinks he should be in custody. Now, I just want to say a little thing about Anna's dad. He's not, he's got a little bit of a penchant for teenage girls as well. I've talked about that in other videos. But I mean, nothing like this. He's got nothing like this in his history of, of actual RAPE or murder. But yeah, it's not, it's a funny old family, this one. They tried to blend these two families together. And obviously it was a disaster because it's resulted in the death of Anna. But lots of people try and blend families together, don't they? I think that was sort of part of the purpose of the cruise. It was like a bonding, of Anna's dad's kids, stepmom's kids, the kids that Anna's dad and stepmom had together, the grandparents. It was, I think Anna was happy to go on the cruise. She loved cruising. She'd been on cruises before. And according to the stepmom, she wanted to stay in that room with those other boys. So we don't know any different yet. But and most teenage girls, would they want to be staying in a room with teenage boys, that they weren't interested in romantically? You just think, don't know. But people tend to share cabins. Anyway, it's too late now to even think about what the alternative could have been. They didn't use the alternative, and as a result, Anna is dead. So prosecutors are seeking for him to go into custody. But in this hearing yesterday, the judge ended the hearing without making a final decision. And he said he wanted to speak with US Marshal Service about the logistics of detaining Hudson in Central Florida near his family, as opposed to Miami, which is where his trial will be held. So federal prosecutor Alexandra Lopez urged him to detain the stepbrother, who was found dead on a Carnival cruise liner in November after they shared a cabin. Now, Alexandra Lopez, the prosecutor, she's arguing that he's a danger to others and he should be held in pre-trial detention because he is no longer being charged as a juvenile. So you can see that, I suppose, if he goes to an adult prison, he's only 16, isn't he? He'd be very vulnerable there, of course. But, not that I'm not bothered, to be honest, because of what he did to Anna. It's hard to feel sorry for him, isn't it? But he is only 16 at the end of the day. So she asked the judge to reconsider the February decision to release him when he was still charged as a juvenile. So he was allowed to remain free in the custody of his uncle. But she's saying that circumstances have dramatically changed now that he faces life in prison after a Miami grand jury charged him as an adult. So he has pled not guilty to the two charges in the indictment in April. He's represented by the Federal Public Defender's Office. He's scheduled for trial in early September after his lawyers sought a 3-month continuance, citing the prosecution's voluminous evidence. So, yeah, there's lots of CCTV evidence. Apparently, went to the cabin first, and then Anna wasn't feeling very well that night, and so on the CCTV you can see her going into the cabin. She never came out of that cabin again alive. Then, of course, the other brother went there just after midnight, wasn't allowed, he couldn't get in there. Timothy Hudson kept him outside for a couple of minutes and then finally let him in. And as I said, this brother did not know that Anna's body was under the bed. So Hudson is accused of killing an raping Kepner, Anna. God, they always use the surname, so disrespectful. Whose body was found underneath a bed in her stateroom by cleaning staff aboard the Carnival Horizon on November the 7th, one day before the ship docked at Port Miami. I mean, what was this boy thinking? Hiding her under a bed like that? Did he really think nobody would find her? Or did he just panic? I mean, it feels like it probably wasn't premeditated. Why do it on a cruise ship like that? But having said that, was he lying in wait for her? Oh, because he also he destroyed her phone. Why did he do that, I wonder? Why would he destroy her phone? So maybe there were things on it that he'd sent to her, messages it didn't want to be seen. Maybe he was thinking he was going to push her overboard at some point. He may well have been thinking that at some point he'd get a body outside somehow and just push her overboard. God knows what was going through that stupid brain of his. But it's not exactly Einstein, is it, to murder someone like that in the middle of a cruise ship with all those people on it. Anyway, she was on the cruise with her father, stepmother, 2 step siblings, and also her grandparents. I haven't included them here, but her grandparents were on there, and other children. So the FBI investigated the case because the killing happened in international waters. That's made it all a bit more complicated. And the Miami Medical Examiner Office concluded that her cause of death was asphyxiation. So, and of course, we did find out some information that we wouldn't have found out normally, because there's also a custody battle going on. Court documents filed in Brevard County related to his divorced parents' custody case, and the boy's mother, Chantel Kepner, is married to Anna's father, Christopher Kepner, and his biological father is trying to get custody of his 9-year-old daughter, who lives with Chantel and Christopher. And so it was documents in that case that revealed to us that the boy was the centre of the FBI's investigation. And those same court documents told us that the Kepners allowed the boy and Anna to sleep in the same stateroom together. So, the father, Anna's father, has spoke out a couple of times. Anyway, they've just had a memorial, where people were asked to wear bright colours instead of the traditional black, in honour of Anna's bright and beautiful soul. The other thing that's just recently happened is her graduation, which of course she didn't get to see because she'd been murdered by her stepbrother. But her graduation has very recently taken place. I'll see if I can find something to show you from that. Where I think her dad accepted. It says it's that one. So let's have a look. Oh no, her dad accepted the diploma. Anna Kepner's father, Christopher, collected her high school diploma. Let's have a look at that. So that must have been, I remember that happening with Riley Strain as well. His parents, didn't they accept his diploma as well? I mean, very sad day. That should have been Anna accept diploma. Let's just share this. So this is People magazine, I think. So yeah, Anna Kepner's dad accepts her diploma through tears, then as a message for his accused stepson. And there he is, accepting her diploma, very simple Christian school in Titusville. And Anna's wife, Chantal, said they were frustrated and upset about the decision the judge had made in the case, and that was the original decision to let him stay free. So yeah, Anna received he received his daughter's diploma during the ceremony, and was seen wiping tears from ovation. I don't know if they got that video here anyway. You know, Anna should have been accepting her own. Okay, so anyway, I'll keep you updated on this case, and just wanted to let you know what had happened yesterday. Oh, thanks for watching. Thanks for caring about Anna. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. See you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.